All right, good evening, my friends, and I'm Reverend Jim White, and happy to be here and serving as facilitator of the Unity of Livonia, a Course in Miracles study group. And oh gee, this family's been around for a while. I know I've been the facilitator since 2007. So I don't know. That's not just seasoned. That's like really old, right? That's a long time. But I'm enjoying it, and I do a lot of other things as well, as what you guys know. But I guess you'd have to say you're infinitely qualified to be my first love, right? Because we've been together for quite a while in that. So I appreciate everyone being here tonight, and I hope you're looking forward to a valuable study from A Course in Miracles. And is there anything anyone wants to share before we begin on our agenda in that tonight? Okay. Well, on my behalf, I just wanted to hopefully you got a copy of my All Is Well newsletter for March. And I think it went out yesterday. So I mentioned to you before, it's something new I'm doing this year, is a monthly newsletter from Love Communications Ministries. And just kind of doing it on a monthly basis is kind of a more streamlined way for me to stay in touch with you guys and tell you about Love Communications Ministries and A Course in Miracles, and remember practical spirituality, which is kind of a new version of A Course in Miracles that I'd like to introduce, that kind of makes use of the Course's principles, but kind of de-emphasizing even more religious or spiritual terms, and just kind of keeping it real and talking about in a common sense way why it makes sense to use the power of love. Okay, not because you read it in a book or you went to church, but just because it makes sense. So that's something I'll be or a side of Love Communications that I'll be promoting as we move into the future. So again, I hope you got the All Is Well newsletter, and take a look. Let me know what you think, if you find any value from it. I am here only to be truly helpful, as are you, right? We're very blessed tonight because we have a new person joining us, and her name is Kathy Neff. So maybe without further ado, let me just say welcome, Kathy, and anything you'd like to say or share about what you know about A Course in Miracles so far? Oh, we got to get you unmuted.
She's muted.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I still can't hear you. Hold on. Let me see.
I got you.
I gotcha. All right, go right ahead, dear.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Reverend, and everyone else for having me join the group. I really appreciate it. I am very grateful that through my cousin, Julie connected me with Gina to join up. I'm actually listening to Marianne Williamson A Course in Miracles, and I'm on lesson 196, I believe. And I thought that this group would be, very helpful in reinforcing the message. Thank you.
Well, we're definitely glad to have you here and hope you'll come back as often as you can, and that you'll find some value in what we're doing here. You say you're doing Marianne Williamson. Are you reading her book, or are you actually doing A Course in Miracles?
Well, I don't think I could fully say I'm doing A Course in Miracles, because it's my beginning is to listen to A Course in Miracles, and then
Okay.
she reads each lesson, and then she recaps it in her own words for a few
Okay.
minutes.
But
Yeah.
what I'm asking, Kathy, is are you actually reading it from the published book or
No,
listening? All right.
but I
So
have it. I have the book.
you do?
Yes.
All right, great. Well, we're off to a great start here then. Just join in, ask questions if you want, or you're welcome to just listen. But we read from the book. Have you opened the book yet ever? Can
Yes,
you navigate through it?
correct. I tried to do it with a friend many
Okay.
years ago. Yeah, and I couldn't stick with it.
Okay, no problem there. So what I'm thinking is we'll be making references to within the book and that, but we'll help you find it. And we have readers. We go around and read a paragraph from the book and stuff like that. So again, I'll say welcome on behalf of all our friends here. I think you'll find us to be the most accommodating and loving people, well, amongst the most accommodating and loving people you're gonna meet. And hope you'll like what we're talking about here. Uh,
Thank you.
okay, we cover comments, suggestions, announcements, and things like that. Well, following the agenda, by the way, Kathy, Gina will send you our study schedule and put you on, okay, great, and put you on our mailing list for Zoom. Boy, good thing you know the right people already, right, Kathy? That's great. At any rate, I am unashamedly going to admit that I do work with the Foundation for Inner Peace, the scribe publisher of A Course in Miracles. It's quite an honor to be working with this group, but I am promoting a new product from the foundation. It's called the ACIM audio app. They've had a web edition of A Course in Miracles online for several years, but this January they came out with kind of the next step in helping people to study and use A Course in Miracles. Right now, it's only available for iPhones, but we'll soon have an Android version as well. But I wanted to share it with you guys. I use it every day, and I'm kind of a tester outer for it as well. Uh, but I just wanted to show you a short video. It's about 3 or 4 minutes to let you know about the ACIM audio app. And let me share screen and see if I can pull the video up and just take a moment to check it out, okay? Let me get to it. And hopefully get it started.
Communications Manager for the Foundation for Inner Peace. Well, you spoke and we listened, and we're excited to share about the coming of the ACIM audio app. Listen to our product team members share about what's in store for this online, innovative path for students of A Course in Miracles.
Hi, I'm Felix. I'm the product owner of the ACIM audio app, and I want to tell you why we even set out to do it. One of the things we kept hearing is that people want to stay connected to A Course in Miracles as they go about their lives. And audio is a great way to do that because you can be doing one thing and still listen to A Course in Miracles. So this is what we did. We took the whole course, the text, the workbook, the manual, and also the supplements, in a beautiful audio recording and put it into this one easy to use app that's on your phone. And that will allow you to listen to the course as you go about your life. One of the features I really like in this app is that I can listen to the text and the workbook, and it will never forget my place in either. And it's very easy to continue where I was listening in the text in the afternoon after I did my daily lesson. Another feature I want to highlight is the ability to add short little breaks after each sentence. So you might be in a situation where you don't have your full attention to the thing you're listening to, but you can add these little breaks and it will allow you to still understand what is going on. And then when you're in another situation where you have your full attention, you can take out that breaks just with a swipe of a button and listen to it in the original speed.
Hi, I'm Courtney, and I'm the UX designer at the Foundation for Inner Peace. My team and I have been hard at work studying and listening to many different types of ACIM students, so we know the exact type of app that we need to make. We've identified your needs, and we're adding them into the app. We're focused on making this app accessible and useful for you. For example, I am a new ACIM student, so my favorite feature is our meditation mode. We have sourced many different ACIM quotes and prayers from students around the world, and we've added them into the app. This feature is great if you're in need of some guidance or you just don't know where to start. I love utilizing our surprise ACIM prayer feature when I just need to get connected to the love that's inside of all of us.
I'm Corey, and I'm a software engineer working on the ACIM audio app. As I'm listening to A Course in Miracles with the app, I really enjoy the background music. It really helps me connect to the words of A Course in Miracles and helps keep me focused without getting distracted. So I really enjoy that. I also really enjoy the reminders. So they come in every morning and let me know, hey, you should study the course, and helps provide more peace in my daily life as my practice is more consistent.
I'm Tara, Chief Product Officer at the Foundation for Inner Peace. We're extremely excited to bring this timeless source of wisdom in a new, beautiful form. We made this ACIM audio app for you. You'll have the course with you wherever you go in the palm of your hands on your phone. I really love this app and the extraordinary work of our amazing team. I'm excited for you to try it out and experience this new portal into the teachings of A Course in Miracles. I invite you to visit the App Store and download ACIM Audio today.
All right, my friends. So there's my shameless promotion. It's a great product. I like it because it it's innovative. It's, you know, I'm a technology person and moving into the future. And it's a traditional wisdom, but presented in line with the way people live their lives today. So I recommend it. It is a subscription. It's like $6 a month or $40 for the year. And again, I've already put it at the link at the bottom of your agenda. So you can click on it and go from there if there's any interest. So thank you for considering that. Kathleen, you're back with us again. Yay! Good to see you again, my dear. Thank you for being here. We are ready to go to the next agenda item unless you have questions or comments, anyone. Okay, I'm not looking at my agenda, but aren't we reviewing this past week's chapter, right? Is that where we are? Review of chapter 8?
Right.
Yes, Frank?
Yes.
All right, good deal. Okay, I got it up now. I'm looking at it myself. Review of text chapter 8. Now, Kathy, are you able to find text? Do you know the difference between the text, the workbook for students, and the manual? Okay, we're in the first book, the text, chapter 8 on, oh, what page is that, somebody? Where does
138. 138.
Okay.
All right. So now that is what we worked on this past week. And we're done with it theoretically, at least as far as our reading schedule. But I always like to have an opportunity to see if there are any questions, comments, or concerns from our participants here. So let me put the question out there. Any comments on the journey back? While you take a minute, let me go back to Miss Nuff, okay? We just put you on mute, but unmute yourself. Who's the author of your book, Kathy?
This one.
Yeah, who's the author?
Okay, I'll find it.
Oh, no, that's gonna be my point. There
Oh,
is
I see.
no
No
author. Okay, the short version of, just so you get the context, the author of this book is Jesus Christ. And the Spirit of Jesus spoke through a woman named Helen Schuckman. Is the scribe of A Course in Miracles. But she says she's not the author because the words were given to her verbatim by an inner voice. And she listened to this voice for 7 years and wrote down what it said. And what you're reading is what the voice of Jesus said. Am I doing okay? Is that, are you amazed, or you already knew that? Or Marianne,
Yes.
if you've read Marianne Williamson, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so we're ready to dive in. We're on the journey back. And let's assign readers. Is there anyone other than Jan or Hilda? Are you not reading? Hildegard? Is she on mute here?
I'm sorry, I like to pass.
Okay, so I have Jan and Hilda not reading. Is anyone else not reading? Okay, this may make us go fast here.
Hang on, Jim. I think Kathy's trying to say she's out too.
Okay,
Yep, so she's not going to read.
all righty. So I'm showing Christine as reader 1, Nancy 2, Joan is 3, Gina 4, Frank is reader 5, Julie reader 6, Ron is reader 7, and Kathleen reader 8. Did I leave anyone out that wanted to read? Joan, did we assign you? Yeah. Did I get everybody?
I missed my place. Where am I?
You're number 4, Gina.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so we're starting out with Christine. Oh, I'm sorry. I got this all wrong. We're not reading this. We're talking about it, right? All right, I'm losing it, folks. Tonight we'll be reading chapter 9. But with regard to review of chapter 8, the journey back, why is it called the journey back? Since I don't have any questions, I thought maybe I could ask. You know, I used to be a school teacher, right? Why is it called a journey back? Is that a good summary of what that chapter is about to you guys? It's a lot of material to ask. I mean, if you had to that much material and had to sum it up, to me, it's like, first of all, it's an unusual journey, isn't it? Why is it an unusual journey, this plan of salvation, this awakening, this awakening from the dream? What it's an unusual journey. Why? Because usually when you journey, you go forward, and this is not forward, is it? Have you ever thought about it that way? Remember, we say A Course in Miracles is not creative. Okay? It's not something new. It's restorative. It's restoring something that got lost. Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
So it's like truth got covered over. We made a mistake and made up lies that have kept the truth from being true. So you might say, well, why doesn't the truth just bust out and blow that other stuff up, right? I mean, if it's so powerful, right? But what is it about truth? I mean, is it weak? Is it feeble? Why doesn't it just shine on through the stuff that we cover it up with?
Well, I would say it has to
I
do
was
with,
hoping you would.
for me, this is just my interpretation, that it has
Yes,
to do with
ma'am.
our,
I'm with you.
it has to do with us being given free will. We already know what the truth is, but when when the separation occurred, we kind of forgot what the truth is.
Yeah.
And since God, spirit, whatever is love, he's not going to come and force the truth down our throat. He's going to guide us and let us start to re-see the truth.
So you see the strategies, the
Mhm.
methodologies. If God is love, then, or whatever you want to call this thing that runs thing, okay? We're going to call it God here, okay? It can't use the ego's methods
Yeah.
of destruction and attack because of what it is, and because of what it is, it's given us a gift of freedom. God himself cannot make you do what you don't want to do, because love lets you be free, right?
Right.
So in order to make adjustments or correct mistakes, it has to act through means that are a part of what it is. So it has to use other more loving strategies. But still, what's necessary is for us to go back to our origins, right? We made a mistake, we messed up, but I gotta do it in such a way, in a loving way. I'm getting off here, but since you didn't have any questions about chapter 8, and then he explains that it is not a journey forward, it is a return, it's a going backwards, it's a undoing, isn't it? And so to begin that process, let me start to tell you about how things really are. So I'm trying to let you see the difference between what's true and what you've made up. So those are some of the sections, to me, of introducing us to original principles, and plus we'll show you how to get back there. And that's where those workbook lessons come in. Wouldn't you agree? All right, so there's Jim's chapter 8 summary. And Kathleen, thanks for your comments. I thought they were right on. You see, love is bound by what it is. Okay, its means has to be consistent with its end. So it's just one thing. So we're going to teach you how to go backwards. And what does it say on the first page? To remove the blocks from love's presence. So we're already on this journey through A Course in Miracles, but it's not a journey to something new. It's going to be a return to what always was before the tiny mad idea of separation. So then we move to chapter 9, and we're going to get there though, but chapter 9 now is starting to continue in teaching us how to recognize and then what to do to get back to reality. But moving over to the workbook for students, we're studying the two concurrently, right? At the same time, we were just getting to the first review period. Kathy, are you familiar? Have you been to, what lesson are you on with Marianne Williamson? Can you unmute and say, or what?
I believe it's 196.
Okay. So did you know after lesson 50, it begins the first of 6 review periods in A Course in Miracles? And you'll be in review for 10 days. So that's where we are. We started to review at the beginning of last week, and that's where we are tonight. So we're on lesson 57, but I wanted to go through the introduction to the first review with you, and that's on the agenda tonight. Do you see it? It's on page 80 in the workbook for students. Is everybody there?
Okay.
Okay. And so I'm thinking Christine is the first reader, right?
Yes.
So why don't we start there with that introduction and discuss it? Jesus says what now?
Review 1, Introduction. Beginning with today, we will have a series of review periods. Each of them will cover 5 of the ideas already presented, starting with the first and ending with the 50th. There will be a few short comments after each of the ideas, which you should consider in your review. In the practice periods, the exercises should be done as follows.
Yeah, thanks, Christine. Nancy, would you do another paragraph and we can see if there are any comments?
Sure. Begin the day by reading the 5 ideas with the comments included. Thereafter, it is not necessary to follow any particular order in considering them, though each one should be practiced at least once. Devote 2 minutes or more to each practice period, thinking about the idea and the related comments after reading them. Do this as often as possible during the day. If any one of the 5 ideas appeals to you more than the others, concentrate on that one. At the end of the day, however, be sure to review all of them once more.
Thank you. Comments so far? Joan, paragraph 3.
Okay. It is not necessary to cover the comments that follow each idea, either literally or thoroughly in the practice periods. Try rather to emphasize the central point and think about it as part of your review of the idea to which it relates. After you have read the idea and the related comments, the exercises should be done with your eyes closed and when you are alone in a quiet place, if possible.
Okay, we all doing good? Then we're up to Gina.
This This is emphasized for practice periods at your stage of learning. It will be necessary, however, that you learn to require no special settings in which to apply what you have learned. You will need your learning most in situations that appear to be upsetting, rather than in those that already seem to be calm and quiet. The purpose of your learning is to enable you to bring the quiet with you and to heal distress and turmoil. This is not done by avoiding them and seeking a haven of isolation for yourself.
Yeah, I highlighted this one because I think it here in the course, it relates to one of the points that I often make with you guys is that, yes, you get brownie points, and these things are all good to do in your prayer closet. But do you see Jesus already explaining? Now, there are 365 lessons, right? But do you see here, he's already telling you that the reason I'm starting out teaching you this in the quiet, but understand their real value will be when you leave your prayer closet, when you go out through the day. So I always say, you have to learn to meditate with your eyes wide open. It's okay to do them in the closet. All of that's good. But their maximal value is when you can take this state through the course of your day and all the irritating, difficult things that you'll come across, right? So I just wanted to mention him stating that here in this paragraph. Any other comments on paragraph 4 or any of this so far? Then I think we're up to Frank for paragraph
5. Number 5, you will yet learn that peace is part of you and requires only that you be there to enhance any situation in which you are.
There's more.
Finally, and finally, you will learn that there is no limit to where you are, as that your peace is everywhere as you are.
Yeah, does that remind you of anything you've read before? Well, I won't get off on it, but you know how I'm always talking about when Jesus letters or numbers things to pay attention, because back in chapter 6, the message of the crucifixion, and there is that section, the lessons of the Holy Spirit. And there were letter A, letter B, letter C. I'm just reminded of letter B here. It says, to have peace, teach peace, so you can learn how to be at peace, right? So our demonstration teaches us that he says, you will yet learn that peace is part of you. And so you can be a peacemaker where everybody else is going crazy, right? Our next reader here is, we're up to Julie, please.
Okay. Paragraph 6. You will note that for review purposes, some of the ideas are not given in quite their original form. Use them as they are given here. It is not necessary to return to the original statements, nor to apply the ideas as was suggested then. We are now emphasizing the relationships among the first 50 of the ideas we have covered and the cohesiveness of the thought system to which they are leading you.
Thanks, Julie. That's great.
You're welcome.
Comments here at all? Anybody? All right. So that was the beginning, and then we go into a 10-day review period. And all of that's on our reading schedule, Kathy. But tonight we are up to lesson 57, which is a review of lessons 31 through 35. So we're starting on page 94 in the workbook, everybody.
Okay.
And I'm showing our next reader is Ron. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Thanks, Ron.
Okay, number 1. I am not the victim of the world I see. How can I be the victim of a world that can be completely undone if I so choose? My chains are loosened. I can drop them off merely by desiring to do so. The prison door is open. I can leave simply by walking out. Nothing holds me in this world. Only my wish to stay keeps me a prisoner. I would give up my insane wishes and walk into the sunlight at last.
All right. Kathleen, the second one. You there, Kathleen? Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, I had to unmute myself.
Okay. Do that
I have
second. Uh-huh.
I have invented the world I see. I made up the prison in which I see myself. All I need do is recognize this and I am free. I have deluded myself into believing it is possible to imprison the Son of God. I was bitterly mistaken in this belief, which I no longer want. The Son of God must be forever free. He is as God created him, and not what I would make of him. He is where God would have him be, and not where I thought to hold him prisoner.
Thank you. We doing okay so far, everybody? We're just reviewing. And Kathy, we always do a meditation period as part of our workbook lesson. So when we finish reading this, I'll put on some meditation music and we'll just take a few minutes to kind of do what he's suggesting, which is spend some time reflecting on these ideas. So having said that, I think we're to the beginning of our list with Christine again, right?
Yes.
Thank you, dear.
There is another way of looking at the world. Since the purpose of the world is not the one I ascribe to, there must be another way of looking at it. I see everything upside down, and my thoughts are the opposite of truth. I see the world as a prison for God's Son. It must be then that the world is really a place where he can be set free. I would look upon the world as it is and see it as a place where the Son of God finds his freedom.
Okay, I'm sorry if my mind got carried away, but we're in a process here. Our next reader is Nancy for paragraph 4. Thank you.
Alrighty. I could see peace instead of this. When I see the world as a place of freedom, I realize that it reflects the laws of God instead of the rules I made up for it to obey. I will understand that peace, not war, abides in it. And I will perceive that peace also abides in the hearts of all who share this place with me.
Thank you. And let's finish this part up with Joan.
Okay. My mind is part of God's. I am very holy. As I share the peace of the world with my brothers, I begin to understand that this peace comes from deep within myself. The world I look upon has taken on the light of my forgiveness and shines forgiveness back at me. In this light, I begin to see what my illusions about myself kept hidden. I begin to understand the holiness of all living things, including myself, and their oneness with me.
Thanks, Joan. So why don't we just take a few minutes for meditation? According to the instructions, you can think about all of them or one of them or two of them in particular, whatever's easy and appealing to us. And let's just spend some quiet and see what the Holy Spirit might add to our understanding. So I'll put some music on here and spend a few minutes on the thoughts from lesson 57. I'm good. How about you? Uh, uh, yeah, Gina, would you unmute yourself and just read those lesson titles? There are only 5. Just read them kind of slowly and we'll start wrapping up on this lesson. Just read.
I am not the victim of the world I see. I have invented the world I see. There is another way of looking at the world. I could see peace instead of this.
Thank you.
There's
And
one more.
I'm going to stop you there and then have you read the last one. But just trying to put things into context, there are 365 lessons. Lesson 1 started out with nothing I see means anything. It's all a mistake. All of it. Because it's based on a tiny mad idea that you are separate from each other, that we are separate from each other. That is the basis for every problem we have. The solution is to recognize that seeing things that way is a lie. And because it's not true, it don't work. So that's the amazing radical premise that this starts on. And until I got into A Course in Miracles, I never knew there was more than one reality. And one with a capital R and one with a small r in quotes, right? Now that we've gotten into this discernment, I mean, okay, that's a lot to swallow. That all of this, all of it is a simulation, it's an illusion, it's a delusion, it's simply not true. So what would it take to get you to believe that this world we've been taught is not real? I mean, it's kind of like in the Matrix movie, right? Didn't they say this whole thing is a simulation? So the loving thing about it for me is that through my study of the Course, I found that, okay, it's not real, but who the hell wants to be caught up in this weird reality where people come and go and die and hurt each other and have anxiety and heart attack? Okay, who wants to be caught up in something like that until you start to understand the fundamental law of cause and effect? So then you start going, why am I caught up in this crazy dream? There must be a reason, right? Yes?
Yes.
And what I found through my study of A Course in Miracles is that the reason for this dream is to help us to find ourselves. because the lessons that we taught ourselves, if they were true, would be so cruel and so tragic. So then you start saying, oh, it's a dream. It's not really real. So no bones are really broken and nobody ever gets hurt and it's all made up. But why is it made up? I mean, even Shakespeare said all the world is a stage. Nothing more than a fantasy, a stage, and all the men and women are merely actors. But what the hell's the play about? What's it for? And A Course in Miracles has taught me that the world is a lesson. Maybe I can get with that program because maybe I might learn something. So the Holy Spirit, according to the Course, took what we made as a rebellion, the tiny mad idea that we could be separate and have our own separate heavens and individual thoughts and all of our individual rights. It's very attractive, except it's not true. That's why it don't work. Have we ever considered maybe that's why it don't work? So you can't keep piecemeal and separation together. You have to let it go and act as though we're one and see if that works. It's helped me out a lot. How about you? Learning to think about someone other than myself all the time and learning to be what I am, which is love all the time. And I can do it even in the dream world. That's what I'm here to learn. How am I doing?
Good. Thank you.
Now it has a purpose that you can get into. Thank you, Julie. I get going. Julie goes with me. Do you see how what appeared to be a tragedy can be a blessing instead? Remember that chapter 6 was entitled, I'm sorry, chapter 6, the message of love? Or was it the message? The point I'm making, the lessons of love is what I'm trying to get at. And so if this is a lesson, a learning plane, maybe that would account for why the Course always uses so much academic type language, like curriculums and workbooks and review periods. Do you see? It's an educational vernacular to this course, isn't it? It's a teaching, isn't it?
Yes.
So I just want you to see how beautifully it's put together, because a lot of students, of course, would kind of miss these elements the first few times through. But I think your understanding will be enhanced. Like Gina read 4 or 5 of these review statements, right? Do you see how you can just take the title and they'll be telling the story, let alone the descriptions? So what it's making me aware of is I'm not the victim here. I made this stuff up. That's very empowering that I was so stupid, but still it's empowering to know I made it up, right? Because now I'm in control of it. Do you see? And so if I'm willing, Jesus says, I'll show you how to get out of this mess. And he starts by having us recognize why we're in a mess. It's because we made a mistake, okay? And now I'm going to show you how to get out of the mistake, how to start retracing your steps or moving on the journey back. And then he offers an alternative. He says, I could see peace instead of this. Really? It's up to me? That never occurred to me before. And then he's getting ready to say, Gina's gonna read. I'm gonna start showing you why you are able to do this if you want. If you're able, instead of seeing tragedy everywhere, to begin to see peace and love everywhere, I'll show you. And here's the first step, Gina. You still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
You gonna read it?
Read which, I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm supposed to
Number 5, the
read.
one you left off
All
before.
right, my mind, I'm ready now. My mind is part of God's. I am very holy.
Okay, and that is my salvation, that I am very holy. And now we're going to talk about how powerful your holiness is if you would choose to live from that instead of that thing you made up. You with me? Was it worth it, what I'm saying?
Yes.
Kathy, are you saying I'll never come back, or what are you doing?
No, I am coming back. And can I make one little synchronistic observation that just happened to me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Our rescue dog left our house yesterday morning, and we have been very sad, and we've pulled out all the stops to get her back and put air tag and everything. And so she was nowhere. I was sitting here watching you. I look out my front window and she's back. So there,
hey,
it's a miracle.
There you go. Lesson 77. Maybe you cover with Marianne that says, I am entitled to miracles. Okay, and stuff like that, as surprising as it seems at first, you'll get used to living in that zone where stuff happens in your favor. I'm so glad they're back. I know that was difficult for you, a difficult time. So
it was. Thank you very much. And thanks for everybody. Let me share that. It makes me so happy
to hear that as well. So listen, I went over as usual with me, but can we get to our text reading for tonight? Okay, it's another goodie. It's chapter 9. In the text on page 160, the acceptance of the atonement. Now, I'm showing Gina just read, so are we up to Frank?
Yes.
No, I didn't just read, did I really?
Yes, you
You
did.
just had me interject.
All right, well, let's let her do her official reading.
Is it my turn?
And then we'll go to Frank. I see where
I'm so lost.
Gina. We're on page 160 in the text.
Got it. The acceptance of the atonement. Number 1 is the acceptance of reality. Fear of the will of God is one of the strangest beliefs the human mind has ever made. It could not possibly have occurred unless the mind were already profoundly split, making it possible for it to be afraid of what it really is. Reality cannot threaten anything except illusions, since reality can only uphold truth. The very fact that the will of God, which is what you are, is perceived as fearful, demonstrates that you are afraid of what you are. It is not then the will of God of which you are afraid, but yours.
Thanks, Gina. And let's do Frank, and we'll stop after that for any discussion. Paragraph 2, my friend.
Number 2, your will is not the ego's. That is why the ego is against you. What seems to be the fear of God is really the fear of your own reality. It is impossible to learn anything consistently in a state of panic. If the purpose of this course is to help you remember what you are, and if you believe that what you are is fearful, then it must follow that you will not learn this course. Yet the reason for the course is that you do not know what you are.
Whoa. Comments? Anything? Make sense? See, here's the irony, okay? Everybody's looking for love. But God is love. So if everybody's looking for love, they're looking for God or God attributes or what God is. So how could you be afraid of what you most want? I'm asking. It'd have to be insane. Who in their right mind would be afraid of what they most want to find? So do you see why Jesus is saying that fear of the will of God is one of the strangest beliefs the human mind ever made? Remember my traditional churches and historical churches, one of the pillars of the fear of God. He's a wrathful God, but he's love, but don't piss him off.
Right.
And I wondered about that as a kid and a young man, and maybe some of you.
Yes.
It was like, how do you fit stuff that don't fit together? Love and fear. Now, I may have done it to be obedient, but it wasn't necessarily because I wanted to. It was because I had a fear of punishment, right? Isn't that what all our parents told us and all of that?
Right.
So here's an illusion, a myth that Jesus is talking about. This book talks about things we thought about, but nobody ever really discussed. So let's see what else he has to say. Oh, by the way, just make sure we got it. What is our definition of atonement? The acceptance of the atonement would be the acceptance of what's atonement. See why I keep going back to it? And one night people will be saying it back and then we'll move on, right? Atonement is the correction of errors in thinking. Yes?
Great.
You've heard it before?
I'm getting it.
It's going to come up a lot in this book. So make sure we're on a firm foundation. Why is it important to correct errors in our thinking? Forgive me, I know we're not reading, but I really do believe that if you help internalize some of these basic ideas, it'll really add to our understanding. The reason it is important that we correct errors in our thinking is because thought power is the omnipotent power of God Himself. We are creators like our Creator, and we create like Him. So do you see how much power every thought we have has power? There are no neutral, powerless thoughts. So if there are errors in our thinking, it's producing our world. A Course in Miracles says, do not seek to change the world, but seek to change your mind about the world, and the world will change accordingly. So it's all mental stuff, right? So here are the two realities, and let me tell you about this new one that you probably never heard of before. And did we finish Reader with Frank? And would that bring us to Julie? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Julie, you ready? Okay, I'm showing paragraph 3, right?
Sure.
Thank you, ma'am.
If you do not know what your reality is, why would you be so sure that it is fearful? The association of truth and fear, which would be highly artificial at most, is particularly inappropriate in the minds of those who do not know what truth is. All this could mean is that you are arbitrarily associating something beyond your awareness with something you do not want. It is evident then that you are judging something of which you are totally unaware. You have set up this strange situation so that it is impossible to escape from it without a guide who does know what your reality is. The purpose of this guide is merely to remind you of what you want. He is not attempting to force an alien will upon you. He is merely making every possible effort within the limits you impose on him to reestablish your own will in your awareness.
Thanks, Julie.
Beautiful.
Let's do one more here. I'm showing we're up to Ron.
Yes.
Okay.
You have imprisoned your will beyond your own awareness, where it remains but cannot help you. When I said that the Holy Spirit's function is to sort out the true from the false in your mind, I meant that he was the power to look into what you have hidden and recognize the will of God there. His recognition of this will can make it real to you because he is in your mind and therefore he is your reality. if then his perception of your mind brings its reality to you, he is helping you to remember what you are. The only source of fear in this process is what you think you will lose. Yet it is only what the Holy Spirit sees that you can possibly have.
Thank you, Ron. Comments from anybody on those two paragraphs? Okay. Deep stuff, hard to form a question. Did anyone want to offer anything that stands out that resonated as true, or is it making sense? We
Well-
good, Kathleen?
Well, basically, the Holy Spirit is correcting our perception.
Yes. Which is maybe said another way, is that when we're willing, the Holy Spirit will show us how to correct the errors in our thinking that are producing the world we see. And then we're back to lessons 33 that says, believe it or not, folks, there is another way of looking at the world. And where you were seeing nothing but tragedy and hopelessness and misery and pain, lesson 34 says, guess what? I could see peace instead of this. Now, who in their right mind wouldn't say, show me how, what do I have to do? I'd love to do that. Of course, then there are others that say, yeah, right. Or it sounds good. Or let me think about it, right? We get that whole spectrum of humanity, don't we, in there? Do you see why the Course says, I forget what chapter, it says, this is an insane world. And do not underestimate the extent of its insanity. It's a friggin' mess. But the Holy Spirit is very powerful. And if I'm willing, he'll show us how to navigate our way out of this mess through the correction of errors in our thinking. And those corrected thoughts will produce a corrected world. You say impossible? I don't know. And then another day you'll say, with God, all things are possible. It kind of, we waffle, don't we? Anyhow, it's an interesting idea and maybe worth pursuing, which is what we're doing here. Let's do a little bit more. I know we're coming to a close and there's still a section on our schedule I know we won't even touch, but if there aren't any questions or comments, let's go to Kathleen. Kathleen, where are we? Paragraph what? You got your mic on, Kathleen? Is she there?
I was just going to ask you, 5 or 6?
Five, I believe.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
I have
104.
I have emphasized many times that the Holy Spirit will never call upon you to sacrifice anything. But if you ask the sacrifice of reality of yourself, the Holy Spirit must remind you that this is not God's will because it is not yours. There is no difference between your will and God's. If you did not have a split mind, you would recognize that willing is salvation because it is communication.
Thank you. There's a lot there, but let me just offer this. What is it? What is your will? What do you want to be? Happy?
Peace.
Yes, at peace as much as possible.
Why do you want peace? How would it make you feel?
It feels good. It feels better than good. It's
Right.
great.
So in practical terms, you see, our will is to be happy, or some other word that conveys that. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
somebody run back over to lesson 101 and let's check out what God's will is, right? I got to get faster turning pages. We've been here before.
101. God's will for me is perfect happiness.
Do we have a match or are they different?
We have a match.
Why would you be afraid of it then? The fear of the will of God. Do you see why? Why would you be crazy? I mean, why would I fear God's will if it's my ultimate will?
Because I've been taught to fear God.
Because we've been mistaken in what we've been taught. So if you want salvation, it's not going out conquering somebody or doing something outside yourself. It's correcting your thinking, because that's where the crap is coming from. The problem is, since I'm not alone, since I'm not an individual, I have to not only be concerned about my thoughts and what they're producing, but about my brother's thoughts. Because we're one, I can't do it by myself. Now do you see why we have this service motivation? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Because what you're doing to others, you are doing to you, because we're all one. Who in their right mind would hurt themselves if they knew it was themselves? Who would do that? The problem is we don't know it is that your brother is you. You know, the Bible asks the question, am I my brother's keeper? And quantum physics has shown you literally are your brother. Not to mention the Course and all the spiritual writings say it. It's a new day, isn't it? It's a new paradigm from what the world has taught us for so long. So, I don't know, I must be getting comfortable with you guys, because, man, I just spirit gets going and I get to talking and it seems like so much, but then I look at your faces like it's okay. and I've enjoyed it.
Me too.
Thank you, Frank, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
I don't know how much of the book we covered tonight, but that's one of the reasons I have this day-by-day study schedule. Not that you're able to do it every day, you're going to do the best you can with it, but at least it keeps us on the same page, even when we're not together on Zoom, right?
Yes.
So I thank you for your kind attention tonight. Kathy, thank you for being here. Kathy and Julie are kind of our newest people. Julie, thank you for coming back. And are there any final comments or questions? All right. So
Thank you. Thank you
oh
very
yeah,
much.
you know, all right. Thanks for kicking it off. Y'all know I need to be getting paid here tonight. I don't work for free, right?
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kathy. I work for Smiles. No worries. I mean, I take donations, but I count on Smiles, and it's a win-win for everybody. I love you, and we'll turn it over, I presume, to Hildegard to close us. Kathy, if you don't know what, just listen along and you'll catch it, okay? Thank you. Hildegard?
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. I am the light of God.
I
am the light of God.
I am the love of God.
I am the love of God.
I am the power of God.
I am the power of God.
I am the presence of God.
I am the presence of God.
Therefore,
Therefore,
wherever I am,
wherever I am,
God is, and all is well.
yes,
And all is
There
all
is
is
nothing,
well.
Is
there's
well.
nothing to fear. There is
There's
only love.
only
Namaste.
nothing to fear. There's only love.
There's only love.
Thank you,
Namaste.
peoples. Have a good rest of the week.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Keep the faith, okay? It
Thanks,
seems
Jim.
to be working. Try it. Love you.
Love
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Okay.
Have a blessed week,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you,
You
Rob.
too.
Take care, y'all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Frank, be well.